Ready for Morocco!
But first things first, and starting with the essential question. Have you ever done something without really having the funds for it? Well, we did.
And even though it might have not been the smartest financial decision to put all our hard-earned overseas savings into a Land Rover we picked up for 3.5 grand in Spain,
We've got a Discovery!
It was the start of something unforgettable. So that's basically what we did when we flew to Spain, picked up a better Discovery One, transformed it into an Overland rig,
and drove it across 2 continents in the search of waves.
Join us in part 3 of our journey.
Taxi Sahara.
Crossing the Strait of Gibraltar feels less like travel and more like a shift in reality.
In around 1 hour, Europe slips away, all the scheduled predictability, and into a new rhythm.
We didn't know what to expect when we rode off the ferry in our old Discovery. A machine older than we are, carrying everything we owned and everything we hoped for. We came with a small budget, big ambition, and a quiet belief that movement itself would be enough. The road south was not just asphalt. It was a gradual unraveling of our expectations. The air was drier, the light sharper, the horizon wider. And somewhere along that first stretch of coast, we realized this trip would not be about conquering distance. It would be about learning how to travel differently. At the end of our first day, we stumbled over this beautiful spot, as we'd been absolutely naked from the long travel and the wild ferry ride. And when you're new in a country, especially if it's a new continent, is it Africa, is it Morocco, you had so many things like, is it safe? How are the people there? How is it while camping in the middle of nowhere, being alone, first day? So to be brutally honest, we had a bit of a weird feeling for the first night. But after our first surf, washing it all away and sitting at the bonfire afterwards, it was just feeling too right to be wrong. And so it was, and we had a splendid night. A couple of weeks in, and all began to flow. We began to travel like the ocean itself, not in straight lines, but in swells. One day we would drive for hours. The next we would stop at a quiet point break and stayed until the night disappeared. Morocco in general has a way of slowing you down, not by force, but by invitation. Every town smelled of bread and spice.
Meat.
Every roadside cafe served tea sweeter than you expect. And every wave felt earned, found, not booked. The Discovery humbled along, dusty and stubborn, like an old walking dog that refused to quit. The only real problem was simple. Sometimes our door would refuse to open, which is less than ideal, considering that this happened mostly in situations where we parked up in the middle of nowhere, coming out from an epic surf session and want to open our home on wheels, just armed with nothing more than a surfboard and a wetsuit, which can open doors, but unfortunately more in a metaphorical way. So we thought might be a wise decision to get it sorted straight away. The general costs for maintenance and repairs in Morocco is pretty cheap compared to European standards, and somehow they always get it work, especially if you're driving an old car, which is one of the reasons why we decided to get this old Land Rover rig, because we thought even if we get stuck somewhere down south, the people can fix it, which was a wise thought. Unluckily, our big breakdown not happened in Morocco, it happened in France. But I'm getting ahead of the story. For a while, our journey had no real destination, just a slow pull southward, always keeping the ocean in sight. We moved at the pace of the coast, stopping where the waves looked right, lingering where the light felt good, and letting the road decide when to move again. Eventually, that drifting rhythm carried us into one of Morocco's most magnetic surf towns. The sun-bleached, wind-wiped, endlessly vibing surf bum hub of Taghazout. And the road lost its grip on us. What was meant to be a brief stop became a month. The kind of month where time stretches, blurs, and becomes meaningless. Mornings started with dawn surf, afternoons with mint tea, evenings with conversations around campfires under a sky so clear it felt unreal. Travelers drifted in and out like tides. Some stayed at night, some stayed weeks. We met surfers, Overlanders, dreamers, people who are running away from something, and people who are running towards something. Unsure to which category we are relying at this moment.
Eventually we pulled ourselves free from Taghazout and pointed the Discovery further south, towards Sidi Ifni, the gateway to the Sahara. The landscape changed again. The coast grew harsher, the land more raw, the ocean more lonely. Somewhere along that stretch, we met Maya and Lawrence, a couple we coincidentally met before, in Germany, when we bought their tires off Marketplace. They were on a similar trip, and also in the Land Rover, a chance encounter that felt less like coincidence and more like destiny. Two old British machines side by side, carrying four people with the same quiet obsession for the horizon. Together we ventured into the desert, sand stretching further than thought itself, silence so deep it pressed against our chest. Out there, distance became more abstract. We felt really small, vulnerable, and completely alive. In that emptiness, we understood something simple. Travel is not about seeing new places, it is about being changed by them. On the way back north, Africa slowly released us. The colors softened, the air cooled, Europe crept back in. We crossed the water again, believing the journey was behind us, that the hard part was over. Then, in the south of France, the Discovery failed us. A broken timing belt, even after we had replaced it in Spain, before Morocco. Stranded on the roadside, engine silent, we felt frustration, fatigue, and something deeper: humility. Machines break, plans collapse, adventures never end cleanly. But as the sun set over the vineyards, we realized something important. The trip had never been about arriving safely. It had been about trust on the road, in each other, and in the unpredictable beauty of travel. And as cliché as it might sound, we realized that it was never about the destination, but the journey itself.
In case you liked our little odyssey, we would be super stoked if you leave a comment, like and subscribe. See you on our next adventure.